Hello, and welcome back to the Gaming Podcast Live. I hope you're all doing well today, our dear listeners and viewers here on Twitch. I'm your host, Miabyte, and we are about to dive into all manner of the most curiously captivating queer conversations on the web. So today, I have the honor of being joined by not just one, but two Gaming Award nominees for Streamer of the Year. Yes, that's right. We're gonna be chatting it up with two absolutely wonderful individuals. And first off, it's today's guest co-host, gaming ambassador, and friend of the show, Toph. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yes. It's so great to have you. How are you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing great. Oh my gosh. I was playing Resident Evil 4 Remaster this morning, and I'm just like living on that high right now.
Yeah, it's a good game. I played the beginning of it. It's actually scary again for me. I haven't felt scared of Resident Evil 4 for a very long time, but now it's like everything's thrown up in the air. I've just realized as well is that the commands that we have in chat have probably got the wrong pronouns for you because I didn't update those or ask you before we went live. So I will make sure to get that edited. But in the meantime, yeah, just to confirm, you tell everybody about yourself.
My name is Toph. I am a gay demisexual variety streamer here on Twitch. I do a lot of Nintendo stuff, indie games. I love life sims games, but really outside of Twitch and sometimes within Twitch, I kind of do everything. I just been a gamer all my life, so I just like gaming. That's, like I said, I was playing Resident Evil today. So, yeah, I also have a dog. His name is Cookie, and that's about it for me.
Yay! And just to double check your pronouns, Han, for everybody.
Oh, and my pronouns are he, him.
I figured as much. Yes, I did get that right. I just did not update them in the command because I just replaced things that have been there before. Wonderful, wonderful. So, Toph, if I wanted to find out more about, queer streamers, games, and the Gaming Awards, where would I do that?
Well, if you would like to find more news or features involving Gaming Mag, you can check us out at gamingmag.com.
Absolutely. And that also means it's time to introduce today's super special guest. On this episode, we are joined by none other than YouTuber and Twitch streamer, up for Streamer of the Year, SuperButterBuns.
Hi, it is I, SuperButterBuns here, YouTuber extraordinaire and Twitch streamer sometimes. Yeah, no, hi, seriously, what's up?
Doing good. Better now that the podcast has started and the anxiety levels start to lower. It's great. How are you feeling today? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I was telling y'all earlier, but for all the viewers in chat, I just came back from a camping trip, so I got a whole 2 hours of sleep on the hard floor. I go, going outside, smelling the trees, whatever we do. So I'm a little tired, but I'm doing good. I'm super stoked. I haven't played Resident Evil 4 Remake yet because I'm withholding it for myself. I want to play it later this week, but I'm super excited because everyone seems to be loving it. So
you're gonna love it, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw your tweet about that. It's you're giving everybody else a chance to play it first, which I think is the best idea because if you stream that right away, it's half the viewers are just gone because
they're doing it too. Yeah. It's so fun playing stuff day one. So I totally get why people do it, but for me, I'm I haven't played the original Resident Evil 4 in a long time, and I'm kind of I want to be surprised again. So I can wait a little longer.
Yeah. Of course, and I completely forgot. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi. Hi. My name is SuperButterBuns. Like I said, I'm a streamer over at Twitch. I'm also a YouTuber, but I've been doing streaming for the last few years mostly. And my big shtick is I play a lot of RPGs, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Elden Ring, the hottest releases, if you will. I also do gaming news every 2 weeks or so, where I take, the last 2 weeks worth of, big gaming stories, break them down, talk about them, a lot of industry stuff, a lot of finance gets in there because, companies love money. And so that dictates a lot of their decisions. But I do a lot of breakdown stuff, and I have a really obnoxious soundboard where I play fart noises. So everyone seems
I'm well aware of that soundboard. It is Hilarious. So if you haven't been playing RE4 like everybody else, what have you been playing recently?
I'm actually like right now I'm kind of obsessed with Raft and also Final Fantasy 14. You know, they have so much in
Heck
common.
yeah. Mm.
But yeah, no, Raft right now is kind of like my guilty pleasure, just head empty, just vibing game. I don't know why I clicked with it so hard. But Final Fantasy 14, I'm getting like near the very end of Endwalker, and I'm like I left on a cliffhanger, so I'm so excited.
Can I just ask, like, without any spoilers, what point have
Yeah.
you gotten up to?
We're
probably hard
going
to say.
places somewhere
You're going
very far
places.
away, if that makes
Oh,
sense. Yeah, like,
I
you know,
don't. Oh, okay. Yeah, very, very far away.
very
Not
far
far away,
away.
but very far away.
Yeah.
You are near the end. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Yeah. Prepare to grab the tissues because you will likely cry. I did.
Oh yeah,
That whole experience was amazing. Yeah.
I'm totally hooked because I enjoyed Shadowbringers, but you know, everyone's like, "Oh, the story is so fantastic. You got to see it all the way through." And after Shadowbringers, I'm like, I get it. I get why people absolutely click with 14 and like why they say it's like
Mhm.
one of the best Final Fantasy stories out there. And Endwalker, originally I was planning on like, you know, making content on or streaming it, but I was just so hooked that I just kept playing like in the middle of the night, and I just couldn't pull myself away from it. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm super
absolutely.
stoked to see how it ends. You know.
So I would definitely describe Endwalker as an expansion as being I'd say it's like the Avengers Endgame of Final Fantasy 14. It kind
It
of like
feels like
culminates
that.
everything that's come before it, like mashing it all up and paying off so many like story things. It's very,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah. Yeah. Which is actually quite apt that we're talking about Final Fantasy in general, Final Fantasy 14, because that takes us directly into our big question of the day. So recently what we've been doing on this podcast is jumping into the weeds, let's say, on a lot of like big conversations, like representation in gaming or the greatest female characters, all that stuff that we can analyze. But I thought we'd be a little bit less analytical today and just hang out and have a good chin wag. Actually, before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. Completely forgot I was supposed to add this in here. But before we jump on to the big question, which is going to be us talking about our favorite games of all time, which is going to be great, a little bit of a bit of housekeeping. So before we get started on that, VIP tickets are still available for the Gaming Awards on the 18th of April. It's going to be live on Broadway. So if you want to grab yourself some VIP tickets or even general tickets, you can, with the VIP tickets, you can walk the red carpet. You can drink sparkling wine, enjoy appetizers, and the live pre-show, including drag, dance, cocktails, and more.
Ooh.
Of course, 10% of your ticket price also goes to benefit Streamcores. They are our wonderful charity partner for this year. Just head over to gamingnmag.com/awards and click on the VIP tickets banner that you'll see there. That's gamingnmag.com/awards. That is gaymingmag.com/awards, of course. Always a mouthful. All right, so now let's move on to the big question, which is what are our favorite video games of all time? Did anybody want to jump in first with theirs or?
I mean, I made a list. I was like,
You made a list?
I made a
So
list.
this is part of that question as well, because it's like sometimes it's hard to pin down just one, and like a lot of people that I've spoken to about this have like, okay, I've got like a list which is like 10 long, or like I want to feature all these games, or I don't have a favorite game, I have favorite like franchises, I guess. So Buns, kick us off.
Yeah.
What do you
I mean,
what's on your
and you're
list?
totally right there. It's just like what, favorite game of all time overlaps greatest game of all time to
Mhm.
you, that kind of thing. But like, it's hard to compare them. I normally kind of break them down by generation of like, what was your favorite of like the PS2 or whatever console you were on at the time. And for me, well, as a lot of people know about me, and I don't know if this is slight giveaway, I really absolutely adore Kingdom Hearts. It is definitely a nostalgia thing at this point, but I'm also like a diehard fan that will defend it, tooth and nail, no matter, it's been going for 20 some years. It's got a lot. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 for me was my first introduction to RPGs at all. I got like my PlayStation 2 when I was 5. Played some, miscellaneous sports games. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And then I saw a commercial for Kingdom Hearts when I was, like wee child. on the Disney Channel, making it a big deal that you can go into the movies, you can do anything, and I'm like, that sounds like the best thing ever as like a Disney child.
I
My
see. So you were a Disney child then.
I
That was going to
was,
be one of
yeah.
my follow-up questions, like how much you love Disney. So, mhm.
Well, yeah, my dad was a big Disney fanatic, so naturally, it kind of followed through. Yeah, I got Kingdom Hearts 1 for Christmas that year, had come out in like September. And I was very young. I was 6, I believe, at the time. And I was also illiterate. I had dyslexia, so I could not read at all. Like even at my age level, I was bad. I could read like broken sentences. I was a fun kid. But I couldn't read a damn thing. And a lot of Kingdom Hearts, especially Kingdom Hearts 1, the level design requires you to read or at least pay attention. It has very obscure directions. Not impossible because it's only so big, but it's just like most people who, even adults who play it, get confused on like where the hell do I go. So it took me 2 years to beat the game. And I also didn't understand how saves worked, so I restarted the
game. I completely understand that. I played it like a couple years ago, and it took me a long time to beat the game. So for a 6-year-old, I can't even imagine. So
yeah, well, yeah, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like, like the first part of the game is mostly original characters, and I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy. So I'm like, where's the Disney? Like, I see Donald and Goofy in these cutscenes. Like, when do I get to the good stuff? But I didn't understand saves. I couldn't read anything. It took me like a whole year to get out of like the first world because I didn't understand that you could move with the analog stick and like control like where you're supposed to go. It's very like, imagine like a miner with like, a pickaxe like the size of a toothpick. That was me at Kingdom Hearts 1 for like most of my adolescence. But it made such an impact on me. And, because it's like even people who play it today, like as adults, like I've seen 20-year-olds and up cry at the ending of this game, and it's just like
it's so good.
It's so good. Yeah, and it's aged pretty well considering every other games of that generation. But when I finally beat it, I'm like 8.5 at this point. I remember it was like right around midnight, just like sweating trying to finish this boss because like at this point I didn't know how to equip abilities. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just hitting things, And finally, when I beat it, like almost midnight, I just bursted out, started screaming, ran into my parents' room, yelled, "I did it," and then ran back, just to watch the final cutscene and stuff. So yeah, it made a huge imprint on me. And most of my favorite games moving forward have some kind of Kingdom Hearts like aspect to it, rather it be like gameplay, story, that kind of thing. And also my hair choice for the longest time. I'm growing it out now, but people who know what I look like, my spiky hair, it made an impression on me. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1, despite the long series history, I still hold Kingdom Hearts 1 in probably the highest regards because I feel like it got the most right out of like a first attempt series that kind of set a precedent for 20 some years later. It still follows a very similar formula to Kingdom Hearts 1. I just thought it was such an impressive game, and I still go back and play it. So yeah.
How do you feel about Kingdom Hearts 3 comparatively, considering that there's like no Final Fantasy characters, I don't think, in that game whatsoever?
Oh man, I could talk about this for like ever, honestly. That's what I do love about the series is that there's endless discussion about it. I'd consider myself more on the positive side of Kingdom Hearts 3. But the Final Fantasy aspect, because when I reviewed it, I did talk about that. Most people have been like, what's up with this? And the only defense I could give is that they have been gradually being phased out, but not having them in that third entry, or at least not having Cloud and Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 3, I felt very strange. But the director, I mean, his reasoning was that there were so many original characters that they couldn't add too many more, or else it would like bloat things. And I'm like, yeah, but you could have squeezed Cloud and Sephiroth, and there's some, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As super secret bosses, that would be pretty cool,
like put them as secret bosses again.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3, I know a lot of people have strong opinions on. The way I see it is that it had a lot of expectation on it, that everyone had this great idea as to what it could be, and then it's just good enough to where you're enjoying yourself, but you also see problems that you could actually like go in there and fix yourself and see a much better game. And I think everyone's in that camp, but for me, I'm like, I like it. I like what it set up for the future of the series. I kind of see it as a bridge to the next arc versus like a grand concluder. But that's just me. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
3 is good game in my book, but Kingdom
It's
Hearts
good game.
1, yeah, good game. A good game. That's it.
but not necessarily going to match up to the original. I mean, it's so interesting that it means so much to you because you played it at pretty much probably a very formative time in your life too, like when you're just getting into video games. Toph, what was on your? Did you have a list? What was on your games?
Well, I was actually thinking as soon as Buns mentioned Liz, like a couple of weeks back, there was a Twitter thing where everyone was retweeting their top 10 favorite games, and so I recently I did actually write up a list so I can remember some of the things that I put on it. But I just want to say, actually, I agree with Buns. Like Kingdom Hearts 1 is truly the best of the series. I think it's also because it was simple back then too.
Was that on your list too, or did you just both come to the
Kingdom
same
Hearts was
conclusion?
actually in my top 10, yeah. Because I played Kingdom Hearts 1 when
good
I was
game.
around 12.
It is a good game.
Yeah, I was around 12 when I played it, so it was a pretty big deal. Even though I had played other RPGs and I've been gaming since Super Nintendo. So to see the build up and to see a game like Kingdom Hearts, which was so unlike anything I had played before it, even other RPGs, because I was used to turn-based, you know? So Kingdom Hearts was sort of like an adventure JRPG. It wasn't turn-based. It felt free and fun and light, but it still had a lot of like really emotional depth to it, which I really loved. But I just want to say that. But if I had to choose one right now on the spot, that's not Kingdom Hearts. I would say, I want to say Tales of Symphonia.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Which actually
I'm
just got a
surprised I didn't hear
remaster.
Animal Crossing come out of your mouth because that's what I associate with Toph
Well, yeah,
the most,
Animal Crossing. But the thing is, Animal Crossing is a series. Like as a series, it's my favorite. So I don't want to say Animal Crossing because as a series, it's my favorite. But if I had to choose one game,
I feel you on that.
Single game, I would probably say Tales of Symphonia. It just got a remaster recently, which wasn't the best. If it's your only option to play the game, I would still recommend it. But the first game came out again, as you were saying, Mia, like during a formative time for me, because actually, I think Tales Symphonia came out not too many years after Kingdom Hearts. So it was on the GameCube, so it was around that PS2 GameCube era. And that was those were the golden years of JRPGs, also survival horror, like so many classics came out around the time. And I remember I've told this story before, but I tell this story a lot. I actually got Tales Symphonia because I went to GameStop, and I don't know if y'all know GameStop, but like back, I don't know if they do this anymore either, but they used to have like a list printed out at the counter. So, and it would list all the games coming out in the following months. So I went there. I was a big mall rat in high school, like always at the mall, always. And I used to hang out at GameStop. Most of the time I wasn't buying things. I would just hang out and like check the games. And I was looking at the list, and the cashier was talking to me about what kind of games I liked. I said JRPGs, and they said, "Oh, you should check out this game. It's called Tales Symphonia. It's like Final Fantasy. It's from a big series. It's one of many games." And I had never heard of the Tales series before, because Tales Symphonia ended up being really what brought Tales out of Japan into the West. So totally on his recommendation only, I saw no pictures, no trailers, nothing. Just I knew the name, and I knew it was a JRPG that this cashier really liked. So I ended up putting a pre-order down on it that day, got it a little while later, and I just fell in love with it. The game, it's cell shaded, has that kind of old school style to it. So much like Wind Waker and other games at the time, I feel like it aged really well because it was so stylized. It doesn't feel outdated because they made a conscious choice to style it that way, and it makes it timeless. And there's a lot of really amazing characters in that game. It touches upon a lot of really big issues like racism and just prejudice in general. And I always say this is kind of cheesy, but like I didn't have a great childhood growing up. I didn't really learn a lot of things that I probably should have learned from my parents. So I was one of those kids that like I learned how to be a good person from video games. And some of the characters in that game and like the struggles that they go through and their convictions and everything, it really the two main characters, Lloyd and Genus, to this day I'm like, I wish Like one day, I hope I have a friendship like theirs. You know what I mean?
Aw.
But yeah, it's just a very, very important game to me. And
Mm.
I learned a lot from it, and I love it. I love the story, the soundtrack, tons of amazing summon spirits. I'm a sucker for any RPG that has summon spirits. Final Fantasy VIII, love Final Fantasy VIII. Golden Sun Lost Age, like any game that has sexy, cool summon spirits. Mwah. But yeah, I would say
feel you on
Tales
that.
Symphonia is probably my favorite.
I've heard nothing but great things about the Tales series, and I still haven't played one to this day. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
play
same.
Symphonia. I'm gonna make Symphonia my first now. Okay.
You should, yeah. It is like
Mhm.
Final Fantasy. Some of them are connected, but for the most part, you can jump in anywhere.
Yeah, Arise really caught my eye just because it was very pretty, you know, but I still haven't touched it. Yeah.
I hear it's very flashy. Then I haven't played Arise yet as one of the newer ones, but I've heard it's really, really good and really
Yeah.
flashy. And it's like Persona 5, right? Even though Persona 5 may not be the best in the series, gameplay wise, it is
The aesthetic carries it.
so
Yeah.
polished. Yeah.
Mm.
Nice.
Mm. Most definitely. It's so interesting to me that you both chose RPGs too. Like, and it might strike you. It's not going to surprise anybody here, but let me set the picture for you of what my choice of one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. I will always say that, like, Toph, my favorite series is The Legend of Zelda. So I absolutely love The Legend of Zelda. And that definitely makes it into like my top 10 if we're going to go there. But my favorite game of all time, it's Christmas 1997. Not the title of the game, but like setting the scene.
I
was like,
Christmas
oh, okay.
1997.
This cold wind outside.
This game called Christmas 1997. You play as Santa delivering presents. No. So setting the scene, it's Christmas 1997. Young Miabyte is at her grandparents' house opening up a PlayStation 1 that she got for Christmas. Technically, not just hers, but you know what? It was mine. I got 2 games with that at the time. I got Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, which is a fantastic game. Really cool puzzle game. Uses Street Fighter characters and Darkstalkers characters. Great. I absolutely love it. Great music. But the other game was Final Fantasy 7. And that's going to surprise no one who's listened to this podcast before, because I've talked about like some of my favorite characters being from that game in the past and all sorts. But as a game that probably had like the most effect on me growing up, I would say it's that. It was my first real RPG, like narrative-driven RPG. Obviously, like I had a Game Boy, I had Pokemon, but you don't really think about story when you think of Pokemon. And I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, Final Fantasy 7 is so overrated."
It's
you know?
it's not though.
it's
That's
not,
the thing.
yeah.
I recently replayed it like earlier at the beginning of this year, and it still holds up. I mean, like visually, it's like yeah, whatever. But like story wise, everything, it's great. It's still a really great game.
Absolutely,
You know?
yeah. It's definitely not a perfect game by any means. Like it can be a little buggy and glitchy at times, and like maybe it's a little visually abhorrent by today's standards.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people like feel, that they can't like play the game because it just doesn't look nice enough to them. I think I talked to somebody and they're like, "Yeah, I don't like the painted backgrounds." I'm like, "Painted? You mean the pre-rendered backgrounds that it uses?" And they're like, "Yeah, the painted backgrounds." I'm like, I'm so old. I'm so old at this point.
That's
Like,
what
are they
takes them
young?
out. I would say like
Yeah.
more like the Roblox characters going out there and throwing themselves. You know,
I absolutely adore the Roblox class. Like the amount of oh God, what's the word I'm searching for? Like identity, the personality. There we go. The amount of personality that Final Fantasy VII has, and like is so good. Everything else I was playing at the time was not narrative driven. I would play like Crash Bandicoot or Mario or just games on the Game Boy. But like Final Fantasy VII, I think it was the first Final Fantasy game that actually released in Europe as well. Like they skipped everything else, and like I knew nothing about the game. And when I was playing it for the first time, very similar experience to you, Buns, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea.
You know?
It was so weird to me because Circle was confirm and X was go back, and every other game to that point, which is the Japanese way of doing things, right? But
that's what I'm used to. Yeah.
every other game up to that point had been like you press the X button to go forward. So for the first like month or so that I was trying to play it, I couldn't navigate through the menus because I just couldn't wrap my little 8-year-old brain around the idea that these were reversed.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got that, like, I think I played through it and like quit it for like months on end because I just kept hitting brick wall after brick wall with like the difficulty curve in that game. There are some fights that if you're very young and you don't understand like the tactics of it, it's just like, okay, well, I just don't know what to do. I'll just go grind up until I'm powerful enough, not understanding how to use tactics. I know now, obviously, but it might be nostalgia goggles, but it means a lot to me. That was the game that, like Toph, like you said, it taught me a lot of like lessons. It's a game about, and today I can look back and say, oh yeah, it's got like its anti-corporate messaging. It's like eco-terrorists going up against people who want to use the planet's resources.
Very
and
subtle, dare I say.
Yeah.
You know?
Not political at
Not
all, that game, obviously. Yeah. I love that conversation.
You know.
I love it when games were not political, like Final Fantasy VII. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s when that came out.
Totally
The unpolitical
apolitical,
game.
no message whatsoever. Those, you know.
But even so, like growing up, putting all that aside because little kid me would not have identified any of that stuff growing up. Just seeing characters stand up to bullies, just being like kind and good, and the story of Cloud, which I only realized in like retrospect. And this is going to be. Have we all played Final Fantasy VII here?
Oh yeah.
I actually played Final Fantasy VII for the first time like just like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's why I said when you said it's like a biased opinion, it really isn't, because like when I played it, I was like, I get it. It's not overhyped. It is good. It is just as good as I thought that I was told it would be.
Yeah,
I mean, I got into the series backwards. I technically played Dirge of Cerberus first, then Crisis Core, and
Oh
then
my
Advent
God.
Children.
I also
Seven was
played
the
Dirge of
last thing I played.
Cerberus.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. It's like it's emo heaven. But yeah, I played the original 7 in 2013 after I consumed everything else, and I still loved it. And I'm one of those like visual people where, you know, like Kingdom Hearts 1 was a very visually impressive game, so I couldn't connect with like simpler looking things, but 7 gripped me really hard, you know, and I thought I wouldn't click with it because of how, you know, how aged it was, but still solid. You know?
Yeah. It was like in retrospect that I realized that it means a lot to me because of that. And again, going to spoilers for Final Fantasy VII, is that the main character is essentially like pretending to be a hero and someone that they weren't for a very, very long time. And as a trans person, I can definitely relate to that, like trying to build this personality when you're young of trying to be something that you're not, and just how mentally affecting it was on Cloud as a character, how messed up in general. I grew up in, again, not in the best environment growing up, so that allowing me like some form of escapism and just seeing how these characters would just push through the worst crap. I feel like if characters in any video game get a bad rap, everybody in Final Fantasy VII is screwed over so hard by this one major corporation in some way, so being like downtrodden, and they just push through all that and just it brings out the best in those people. It brought out the best in me. Obviously there was me falling in love with the characters like Tifa and Aerith as well, and just like what they go through. Again, I've talked about them before, so I'm not going to go back into it, but I feel like if there's one game that can make me super emotional, and even when I was like thinking about my favorite games, I started like watching videos about the games just to see what other people were saying about them. As soon as I heard like the Final Fantasy VII music again, I just started like tearing up. It's like it's holds that much meaning to me that I can get so emotional about just hearing those original tracks. And I went back and I watched my like reaction to the remake trailer, and just like how deeply that this game has stuck with me and affected me.
Well, I was going to ask, how did you like remake, considering? Because it seems to be, it seems to take like super fans into consideration when it's like, we're going to give you everything.
It definitely feels like a game that's made for the fans, which I really appreciate. It's got a little bit of that kind of, even though I know it wasn't written by Nomura, but like a Nomura-esque Kingdom Hearts kind of slant on it, and how it's handling a couple of things.
The Deus Ex Machina at the last second, where, you know, we're like, okay.
A lot of people seem to like hate that, but as a fan of like the overall series, I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed what they're trying to do with it. I enjoy that it's technically not a remake, for those of you who haven't played it. But yeah, like I really want to see where it goes, and I want to see how they shake it up. I hadn't played Crisis Core until like the remake came out this year. Yeah, so there was a little bit. I'd like watched like a playthrough and stuff like that, but I never had a PSP when I was younger. So I missed out on that particular title. And so I missed a little bit of context there in terms of like my memory was very fuzzy on the whole like Zack situation and everything that happened in that game. But going back and like replaying and actually playing that game for the first time, it's made me appreciate Remake a lot more. I think like how they're trying to tie everything together.
Yeah, it was interesting because like seeing the reception of, announcement of like, okay, we're remaking 7. Yay, it's 3 parts, or it's in parts. We didn't know how many at that time. Everyone's like, oh no,
Yeah.
and then we see
Am I going to be
more of it.
alive when the last game comes
Yeah,
out?
exactly. But then they have that demo come out, the trailers come out, Remake comes out to, really, really positive feedback. But yeah, I mean, the ending part, originally, like, younger me would have been like, this is stupid. I hate change. But the older I get, the more I appreciate at least the effort to interject something fresh into something that we have seen for years, last 20 years or something. I like that Remake isn't trying to replace the original 7. I see it as complementing it. Is that, understanding the whole thing. And we still don't know where it's going, but like obviously they have an end game in mind. You don't put all of that at the end of one of the games and not have it come full circle, I hope.
Exactly.
I don't know where it's all going. But yeah, no, Remake really impressed me, and I was kind of like, I was expecting to be like a little Debbie Downer about it, but I was so impressed by it. Or at least it's just the care that went into it, like the dress scene. It's like something that they could have easily cut for being like too risque. They upped it to like up to, 11, which I thought was fantastic. So that just makes me more excited for part 2. It just
absolutely
feels fresh, because it's like we have these remakes that are really one-to-one, and now here's something that's trying to really build. And it's just nice to see, especially like everybody else just, like Resident Evil 4, great game, but it's like, you're not going to have like the sky cracking open and like gods coming from the sky at the end of RE4,
Or even worse,
Yeah.
RE3 remake where they cut out half the game.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm
that's the thing.
Still mad about that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's just like now it's 3 parts. I'm happy with the trilogy, but it's just more of that thing you like, and it's just fleshed out to the highest degree that like.
And also, if you don't like it, you still have the original that is untouched and exactly what you might love best.
And on everything too, like you can get 7 on your phone. I play it on my Switch, which is my ideal way of playing stuff. And
me too.
I'll admit, the Switch port of the original 7 has built-in cheats where you can turn on God mode and like 3 times speed like really quickly.
I would
really
definitely
fun.
I would definitely use that today because like that's
they're just built in. You literally just click on the analog sticks. It's like together is like click down, no encounters. Left is like God mode, and then the other one is 3 times speed. So you can just fly through the game. Like if you don't want to deal with RPG, like old school stuff, if oh, I'm under leveled, you could just click the button and you win, and it's really fun.
I wish there was like a God mode button for Final Fantasy VIII on the Switch that made the UI and the menu like good.
Yeah.
Say, get on that patch, Square. What are you doing? No, I mean, like it's weird with the amount of like Final Fantasy ports out there. Some of them have built-in cheats, others don't. Like Final Fantasy X, on like consoles doesn't have built-in cheats. On PC, it has like switches. You don't have to put in mods or anything. It has like a button for it. So it's like check your ports, guys. It varies, okay, but you can get a lot of mileage out of these old games.
Yeah, like a lot of the Final Fantasies are available everywhere. So, and I think there's like guides on YouTube to tell you which version is the best that you can play.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
I think the thing that I really appreciate about FF7 and why I can like still feel like it's such a good game even today is like I managed to convince one of my friends just to like dip their toe in and play the original after because they played Remake and they were like, yeah, I kind of like this game. But I'm not like a huge like fan of it or anything. Like I convinced them to play the original, and they were like, "Okay, I get it now. I totally get it now. This was a really really good game." And like, I'm just so glad that other people can get as much out of it as I did. Probably won't mean as much to them playing it, maybe, but yeah, it's weird that there's like kind of a through line there that all of the games that we've chosen definitely hold special meaning to us in some way. Because when I asked this question, I asked this question on on Twitter, I think, just to my Twitter followers. And I was getting like so many things. Oh yeah, I just love this game because of the gameplay. I love this game because of like X, Y, and Z. But nobody was like, oh, this just means a lot to me because like it was, you know, I played it with my grandmother or something like that. It's really odd, like people using those different reasons for like choosing their games. I don't think I've ever encountered anybody. Have you ever encountered anybody who's had like who talks about a really bad game as their favorite game of all time?
I mean, well, I have several, like I said, but Dirge of Cerberus, yeah,
Mhm.
that is considered a mediocre, piss poor game by a lot of
Is
people.
that one of
I
your
love
favorites?
It is one of my guilty pleasure Final Fantasies. Yes,
Okay.
it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it's boring as hell, but I love it. So because like it's the gunplay of it is very very cut and
Yeah.
dry. The AI will literally line up into your shot, like it's you can snooze through it. But there's just certain, like I love the story aspect. Vincent Valentine, I don't know if you can see that, he's like right.
Yeah.
He's right there. And there's another one
I
over
see
there.
the blur of Vincent Valentine in the background. Yes.
I have my little shrine over here. But yeah, Vincent's a guilty pleasure for me. So yeah, that's yeah, I don't know. I guess like for like other people, like, you know, bad games being their favorite. I'm trying to remember, but I know like
It's sort
at
of
the
objective,
time,
isn't it?
yeah, I like God Hand, for example. That's a lot of people's favorite games, but like at the time it reviewed very poorly. So it's just like depends on like what decade you ask them, you know, like what their favorite game
Oh,
is.
that's also very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. I do want to ask actually, do you feel like Dirge of Cerberus deserves a remake?
It's one of those
Deserves
things where I feel like I would be me and like 12 other people would be the only people excited to hear that news. Yeah, deserve is
I mean, I've never played the original, and at this point, I watched the game like a playthrough, and of course I watched Clem's video breaking down the story as well, which was yeah. But yeah, I personally I would love that. I never had a PS2 growing up. I would love a remake.
It's one of those things where like what is the objective of a remake? Because you know, when you're redoing a game that was already good, it's like, you know, it's just lightning striking twice basically. But like some people advocate for like, oh, we should remake games that weren't that good and see if we can make them great, you know? And Dirge of Cerberus is a game that I think has a skeleton of a good game in there. It would just need like I think a best comparison is near Gestalt versus near Replicant, which greatly changed the combat system from the original. They completely redid it, and people absolutely love near Replicant with all of its enhancements. And I think Dirge, if it got that kind of like overhaul treatment, people could really like it. The thing about it, though, is how necessary is it? Because canonically, it's on the very tail end of the 7 timeline to the point where it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of like this little extra chapter in everyone's lives. So it's like, unless they plan to incorporate it into like this new 7 megaverse that we're being like, you know, that they're trying to set up. I don't know. But I would be happy to see it. I know a lot of, you know, groans from the internet.
I would be one of the 12 for sure.
There we go. Do it for us, Square.
Yeah.
It's
so
kicked around the
interesting.
idea, though.
So interesting that you say that as well, because I was thinking about like Resident Evil 4 remaster. Well, not remaster, sorry, the remake. Well, just Resident Evil 4. That's just come out, and at the time when it was announced, I feel like I had the same sentiment as a lot of people saying, I don't think this game needed to be remade. If anything, I would have chosen like Code Veronica.
Code Veronica,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah. That's a game that like could be so, because it's not like the strongest Resident Evil title. It could be so great if you. Yeah, a lot of people just completely missed it. Did it originally come out for the Dreamcast?
Yeah, it was originally on the Dreamcast, yeah. And because of the title, people think it's a spin-off, but it's actually a main series game.
Yeah, I remember. Oh God, I can't remember who it was that said it. But they it was one of the people who worked on the original game and on the Resident Evil series in general. I'm terrible with names, sorry. Especially when it comes to like people, developers. But they said, yeah, this deserved to be like a mainline titled entry into the series, and I totally feel that as well. And I would love to have seen like an RE2, RE3 style remake of Code Veronica, more so because like Resident Evil 4 is another one of my favorite games of all time, like the original. And like I'm enjoying so far what they've done with the new one, but again, it just feels like a bit of a Resident Evil 4 remix more so than anything else. I don't think it really needed like a remake so far. I could be proven wrong by when I get to the end of it. But
well, it's
we'll see.
interesting, at least now, because it's like Capcom has kind of hit the wall with like games to remake that people want to seek. I don't think anyone is out there asking for an RE5 or RE6 remake. If they are, they're joking, you know. And it's just like, so now they've kind of hit the wall of like, what game from their RE series do we remake now? You know, so maybe it's up there, you know, because like I don't think they're eager to remake 5 or 6. I don't think anyone wants them to. So it's
go backwards, do 3 again.
Yeah, get that 3 DLC, you know, fix it. But seriously, I think you know, after you like remake one of the greatest games of all time, and you still have a backlog of games that could be really improved by that formula, it's like take the opportunity, you know, and don't touch RE5 again. Just let it sit there on Steam. Don't do anything with it.
Totally. All right, so I realized we got completely off topic, so I'm just going to move us on to you, Buns. It's actually time for your spotlight, so we're going to get to know you a little bit more. Are you ready? Are you prepared?
I am ready.
You're mentally prepared. Okay, good. Well, it's funny that you mentioned like your the growing up with the PlayStation 2. You recently had the streamer spotlight in the Gayming magazine like site itself, and you mentioned that you started video games with the PS2 at 5. But and you've mentioned Kingdom Hearts as well being one of the games that you played. What other kind of games were you getting into back then?
Technically, my first ever game was on the PlayStation 1. Wasn't my PS1, it was my godmother's. And it was some kind of crappy snowboarding game. Couldn't name it to save my life. And I was having a ball playing my PS1, and I asked my dad, I was like, can I get a PlayStation? And at the time, the PS2 had just come out. And this is at a point in my life where my dad, like, was doing well in his job. He could just like, drop money on that kind of thing. And got myself a PS2, got what I thought was the snowboarding game. Wasn't. It was actually SSX, which is a much better snowboarding game, luckily. So that SSX was technically my first game that I ever owned, and I still do love that series. I made a video on SSX Tricky, which is the sequel, not too long ago. Well, actually several years ago, pandemic time, but
those years just disappeared into the ether. Yeah,
5 years ago, who knows? After that though, PS2 was kind of my main console. Financially, like as I got older, my family got poorer. So by the time the PS3 had come out, I couldn't afford one. So I had my PS2 for a long time. I got mileage out of that thing. Couldn't afford any Nintendo, system. So I just stuck with my PS2 and ran with it. So that's and I was just kind of hooked into gaming since. I love the Jack series, Ratchet and Clank. What else on the PS2? Really anything that caught my eye. Like, I was a kid. I wasn't keeping up with like gaming culture. I wasn't reading reviews. I'm like, that has a cool box art. Let me get that, So I got the Jaws Unleashed game. Not good. I got the Pitfall, The Last Expedition. Surprisingly kind of good. Like things like that. That just,
I love the idea that you're just walking into a video game store and basing your purchases off just what the cover art of games looks like.
Just that gut feeling, like is this the
That's actually what it was back in the day, right?
That was though. Yeah, that's how I got Ratchet and Clank going commando, which is the second one. That was the first one I bought because I'm like, that's a cool looking gun. What is this furry doing holding the weapon? So like, and I'm young. But yeah, that's how I got into most of my games, and I mostly got a lot of stuff in the pre-order bin, because like I got poor as I got older. And I didn't get a PS3 until 2012, like right before the PS4 came out. So I was very late catching up with a lot of generations until I started doing content creation, Then you got to stay on top of it.
Yeah, then you were all in. Yeah. Speaking of content creation, I want to know a little bit more about just SuperButterBuns, that name. Where how, why?
The brand?
Explain the brand. Where did
I'm always so sheepish when people are like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a video editor. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to tell my channel name and stuff, but I was 19 when I made it. There is a story. It's just one of those like embarrassing Tumblr things. It's like
there's nothing embarrassing about Tumblr. No, of course not.
But what had happened was I was in like 11th grade, and I wanted to change my Tumblr URL to something less emo because it was something like Faded Memories or some crap. I don't know. I was being more optimistic now. New year, new me, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Classic mid-2000s, like Early to mid 2000 screen name. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
I feel
But I
you.
wanted to change it, and I had always joked that if I was a stripper, I would be named Butterbuns. But I'm very funny when I was a teenager. But so I tried to change it to Butterbuns on Tumblr. Someone had taken it, so I threw a super in there. So I had SuperButterBuns URL, and that Tumblr is long gone. Don't even bother, guys. But yeah, from there on, I just had the username. I didn't make anything with it. I didn't really interact online. I just had a Tumblr. I just vibing on the internet. And then when I finally decided to start making YouTube videos, because fast forward, I'm 18 at this point. I moved out.
You
And then
are going to school for editing?
yeah,
at
I
the
went.
time, or-
I didn't
yeah.
go to film school. I went to a 1-year certification program at UCSD in San Diego. And because ADHD, like I need to I need to learn how to hold a camera. Like I don't need to learn film stuff. But during that program, I wanted to do like you only can edit stuff that you film really in that class, and I wanted to start learning how to edit faster. So I started making YouTube content, just kind of winging it, because I had some experience editing. And at that point, it's like, well, I have this brand, I have this username, SuperButterBuns. I had this cute little cartoon drawing of me as a little bread as a joke, and I digitized it and I recreated it. I'm like, this is it. This is my brand. And little did I know that would actually work out for me. So, I look back and I'm like, I'm proud of it. But God is like, it does not sound cool when you say it out loud. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a Muppet sometimes, with just like, how my content is and all that. But yeah, that is the history of it. It started off as a stripper joke, and now here I am.
10 out of 10.
Funny how things
I
work
love
out.
that.
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, my Tumblr name back in the day was DD Roar. Like
Oh,
DDR and Roar, because I was super popular back then. So that makes you feel any better.
please tell me it was RAR
Mm.
XD in there,
Well, yeah, I think one of my first screen names back in the day, I think I like, oh God, mine like came back. It was like X Invader or something like that.
Mhm.
It was awful. I needed something for Gaia Online at the time. And I was just like, yeah, I like Space Invaders. I like the X Parasite from Metroid. Let's throw those together. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, that's so you're not alone in the interesting name
And the brand is
picking.
born, and now it's trademark and copyright and all that fun stuff.
Oh,
So
love that.
I love that.
Well,
Absolutely.
speaking of SuperButterBuns, I actually, I've been following you for a while. I followed actually with Kingdom Hearts 3. That
Oh,
was
wow.
for
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 for beginners was like the first video that led me to
Oh,
your
thank God.
channel.
That one's kind of good. Thank you. Okay.
Listen, I fell down the rabbit hole, the SuperButterBuns rabbit hole. It was very soft and fun the whole way through. So I enjoyed
Thank you.
everything after that. But that's actually what brought me into it. And what really, really sold me was not only the beginner series, but also your humor.
Thank
Like
you.
I'm so into your humor. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what made you want to start with the For Beginners series? And like, where does that humor come from that you show in those videos?
Definitely unmedicated ADHD that needed an
Oh,
outlet.
okay.
Okay. My humor approach is throw everything at the wall. If it sticks, it lands. If it doesn't, we move on, rapid fire. But yeah, the For Beginners aspect started was when I was in school. My friends weren't gamers. I had chorus with them and stuff. They were great friends, but we didn't talk about games. We used to do other things. So when I went to college, I was like, what can I do as a YouTube thing? Because one thing I did notice before starting is like, if I'm going to do YouTube, I want to do it right. And I had followed a lot of YouTube creators like Cat Icarus, The Completionist, Zero Punctuation, people that made an imprint on me. Is like, the thing I noticed, the thing that worked was a series. It's not just like random sporadic videos. It's something with a tagline, and of course, like, I'm not aiming to be a YouTuber. I'm just doing it for funsies. But, I just started like, I wanted to make videos for my friends so that I could be like, here's a quick introduction to that thing I don't shut up about. So you can follow it too. And they kind of started off as like parody videos. Like they weren't particularly helpful. It was more me like poking fun at the game. But YouTube comments quickly pointed out that this was not a video for beginners. And in fact, there's spoilers in these things. And like, this was like very, very gradual. I cannot express how gradual my YouTube career has been, where, I got like 10 views, for like the first week, then 100, it was very, very, very gradual. So like, comments were very kind at first, then kind of ramped up to be more negative and stuff. But At the time, it's like I took like I'm a good sport. I can get a mean comment and try to get something positive out of it. So, people were saying that they weren't funny or they weren't helpful. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'll start making them funny and helpful, So, and I kept trying to challenge myself because I do YouTube. I was doing YouTube for editing at the time. And each video I wanted to improve my editing. So I always try to challenge myself to do something that I'd never done before. So originally my first for beginners was 5 minutes. If you go check my most recent one, it's about 55 minutes or so. It's, and so
Yeah.
they've gotten much longer to where I kind of exhaust myself over explaining games to a to a fault almost. But now I make them to where they're helpful for beginners. They're not spoilers. They're funny regardless if you've played the game or not, and they're funnier if you have played the game. So it's been a process to get them where they are. But my mentality was just improve each time. Like because like that was the only thing I really could do at the time to like feel like I was, making something of this. And now it's my job, so can definitely say it works.
Right. Yeah, and it's super impressive too because a lot of people do just jump in. They jump in the deep end, and maybe you feel like you did that too, but clearly you studied and you learned from other creators. You said you had a plan with the series and you listened to comments. A lot of people don't do that because it is easy to get hurt by comments.
Oh yeah, people are mean. Oh yeah, for sure. I've heard my voice is annoying. I'll be hearing that like when I'm dead.
Oh, I hear that all the time too, so we can bond over that. But
Yeah.
I won't even get started on what I hear about my voice. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, it's look, there's only so much you can do at that point because like I've always had kind of a more obnoxious voice, and if you go back and listen to my old content, it's like really screechy because I was overdoing it, and now I feel like I found like a soft medium where I talk in the more low register, but there's energy behind it, and my voice kind of gets fried when I do recordings and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was just very humble at that point because I was like I'm just out here trying to improve my craft. And even if Joe Schmo username over here hates my voice and he'd be like this bleep here is annoying, I'll be like, maybe they are Joe Schmo username, maybe they are. So
I imagine like again like there are so many more. This is the thing though, because we tend to hyper focus on like the negative. Like we can get like so many compliments in a day, and then like one person says something bad, it's like, so I got to focus in on that one. That's what people think about me. It's like not necessarily like the truth, but like, yeah. It's flipping the script a little bit here, like switching over. You mentioned like getting better at editing over time, but I've definitely been impressed by your editing, like the breakneck pacing of like your videos in general, and just the amount of jokes that you throw in there. It kind of like it's an attack almost sometimes. It's great.
Thank you. I'm weeding out
great
people.
attack. Yeah. But I would love to know more about your video making process. Are you one to like sit down and script first, or do you go for your gameplay and then write it out based on that, or what how do you again, you mentioned like ADHD for just getting together with your jokes. Well, what does that process look like for you?
Well, the last few years has definitely slowed it down. Again, like as much as I love this job, sadly, the tedium, or at least like the the pattern of it all takes the the dopamine hit out. So it's gotten harder and harder to do things that I have been doing successfully for years. That's where my problem is. But my process is basically the same every time. So play the game. If I like the game enough, I feel like it could make it for good for beginners. I normally play it twice, and then I normally watch like videos like on breaking down mechanics I don't particularly understand, just to educate myself. And then I start outlining. So I script everything. So I'll make bulletin points of like, here's the opening, gameplay, design, that kind of thing. Make a list of things that I notice or mechanics that I should point out. One thing I really do like doing now is I love watching fresh playthroughs of people on Twitch or whatever of the game, just to see what a beginner is actually going to struggle with. Because you'd be surprised. It's not the stuff the tutorial doesn't, like a lot of stuff is tutorials don't tell you things, but like, a certain sense of direction. It's really helpful to see people first time play things. And so I've gotten a lot of useful information from that. But the scripting process takes forever because I'm very slow at writing, and it's gotten slower with it. I'm very critical of my own writing too. I'll workshop something like 5 or 6 times if I don't like it, and luckily I have some of my friends I kind of bounce off of, like, hey, is this funny? Is this good? So funny enough, like, even though I kind of kill myself to make sure my scripts are perfect or whatever. Weirdly enough, most of the jokes that I was very tempted to cut end up being people's favorites.
Oh,
One of
really?
my Persona 5 video, I make a joke like 2 plus 2, God, it was like 2 plus 2 equals go to bed or something like that. And I hated it when I wrote it. And then people like, that's all people quote. I'm like, I gotta stop like fine tuning these and like, you know, beating out these jokes. Maybe it's just best to wing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I basically just you know, kind of free write, go back, correct, free write, go back, correct. It's a lot of editing. And then once I have a script I'm mostly happy with, then I start voicing it over. And by that point I've recorded the game already. And yeah, I start with the voiceover, then I place footage. I kind of describe it as like I guess maybe building a sandwich. You know, it's like you start with your base, then you start working your way up, and then the details are like the condiments.
Yeah.
I haven't had lunch today. I'm sorry, guys. You know, I'm sorry. I got sandwiches on the mind, but yeah, it's a process where you have to watch it like 5, 6 times over, 10 times over. You know, and I just keep adding. I keep adding. I keep adding. I keep adding. So by the time the video's done, I've seen it about 100 to 200 times. I hate it. I'm so sick of it. I don't even know what's funny anymore. And I put it out and I just let the users.
I feel you on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just working on something so much, you just don't know if it's funny anymore or if it's entertaining or effective. Yeah, yeah. I feel you on that. Because I can only imagine, like, but back when I was even trying to do like something similar with editing, like just doing a minute or two of like of the actual video itself could take hours on end, you know, like,
and that's what all people
ridiculous.
don't understand. Yeah, that is like a lot of folks who are, I guess, like, you know, when you get obnoxious commenters or very smug people, and like, oh, but like, you know, this is so easy, is it? Because I see a lot of people who don't edit their own stuff, and they edit something for the first time, and they're overwhelmed. It's like something very simple too, you know, and they're like, oh my, this is taking forever. I'm like, yeah. It's like, you know, for in my case, like 1 minute of a video takes about 5 hours, depending on what's in it. You know, sometimes it can take a whole day for like a 7 second or a segment. Like my Breath of the Wild video. I have a very, very quick joke in there that has Link coming down into one of the shrines, but I turned it into a Danganronpa joke. So it has the whole overlay and everything, the music, you know, I put unique characters in there. You know, animations that took like 2 days to do. And, you know, and of course, and most people like, what the hell is this? Like, what the hell is Danganronpa? Like, most people don't get it, but other people who do get it really appreciate the effort. So, yeah, I just try to put my all into it and see if people like it. And you know, it's worked out. It's just hard to constantly try to replicate that process without kind of like wearing yourself down or running out of ideas. That's something I really struggle with. Because I try to keep my content family friendly. I want kids to be able to be in the room when they watch it, and not, you know, their parents worried about like me dropping, you know, like you know, the F word left and right or something like that. Because a lot of gaming content has like more adult centered themes, or you know, I guess like how people talk with each other. And for me, being family friendly was originally my mom's idea, but like, you know, I took it as it was kind of a good railroads to work in to try to redo my comedy and make it more slapstick, more family friendly, and I guess like, you know, not too crude. And that's why I kind of rely on a lot of like the explosions, the fast edits, the way I do, is because, you know, I want your cousin to be in the same room when you're watching the SuperButterBuns video or something, you know. Just that's just how I do it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's so much work. That's so much work, but like so commendable that you can do it. Because even doing YouTube Shorts, TikToks, those take so long just for short form stuff. So I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But like, you are obviously now, like you said, you mentioned it multiple times today, even, that you are focusing more on Twitch, and that's kind of where your energy is being placed. So you started as a YouTuber, right? And you put a lot of time into those videos and a lot of studying and a lot of effort. But then there's this sort of more freeform, chaotic, like SuperButterBuns on Twitch with that, you know, that soundboard you mentioned. So like, what do you feel is the difference between those two experiences? Like, what is the difference between SuperButterBuns on YouTube and Twitch?
I'm definitely more real on Twitch. I call it, raw dough, if you will. But seriously though, like, I SuperButterBuns I consider my most what's the word, like handcrafted, thought out content. Again, like I'm really thinking about what I'm putting out. It's more of a character. It's not really me. It's an exaggeration of myself. Like, again, SuperButterBuns would fit comfortably amongst like the Veggie Tales. That's just how I see it. So, but for Twitch, I originally started doing streaming as a way to record gameplay footage for the videos while talking to my community. And I started doing Twitch really like only a few months after YouTube. And I had watched Twitch for a long time. I just wasn't active. I didn't talk. But when I started doing it, I was also like, I was renting out a room in California. My internet was awful. My frames would die all the time. Very low quality, everything. But I always kept with it on top of YouTube. And when the pandemic hit and I started to go, I got into therapy. It was like the universe's sign being like, slow down. Okay. It's like you've done a lot with your YouTube career. I just wanted to take more time to myself, be with myself more. And Twitch was just a much better outlet to be more authentic. Obviously, like, you're live, you're off the cuff, that kind of thing.
Of course, yeah.
And people are always surprised when they kind of come into my streams and they do see I'm much more vulgar. Like my humor is kind of all over the place. Again, I got my soundboard. I love me some well-timed fart sound effects, as we know.
You do.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
The countless clips that I've seen with those well-placed sound effects is 10 out of 10. I love
my 5 different types of fart sounds. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, no, Twitch is, I've kept alongside it. And a lot of people think like I abandoned YouTube for Twitch, and I'm like, I've always done both. It's just Twitch. I'm just more comfortable at Twitch. It's a lot less strain on kind of like my creative mind, if you will. So yeah, doing gaming news, like I've been doing that for the last like 2 years consistently, has been really awesome to kind of like get my general feelings out on like the gaming world while not feeling like I have to make content on it 24/7. Because people have this conception of my content that my For Beginners are like timely, as in like the new game comes out, now the For Beginners is coming out in like 3 weeks, right? And I'm like, I've only done that twice, and it was really hard, and I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I'd like you've put out like different For Beginners guides on much older games as well. Like I know you did one on Resident Evil 4, and that definitely wasn't timely. So I don't know where that would
10 years later. Yeah, people have this perception of me that I was one of those creators, and I made a few videos at the time talking about more like current news stuff, and maybe that set the precedent. But yeah, my For Beginners series, especially now how games are with that, most of them come out 80% done. You know what I'm saying? Like they get a DLC, they get a patch. Like they're a different game that they were like a year from launch, that kind of thing. It's for me, and for the sake of just making a better video, it's like I just like waiting. And so I get like Twitch has been awesome to kind of just get off the top, brand new, news things out and talking about it out in the open. While I can kind of just, keep it a steady pace, work on my video and really, fine tune it. So yeah, like I adore Twitch. It's been awesome for me. I at this point, like I'm more of a streamer than I am a YouTuber. So thank you to my gamers for sticking with me, even though like where are the videos, bums? Like
and if chat, if you haven't checked out SuperButterBuns yet on Twitch, you should do. Sunday Bunday is absolutely fantastic. You basically hype up the news process, as we've mentioned. It's almost like a radio show with your addition of like the SFX and everything else that you add to it. Considering that you've had your finger on the pulse of gaming for a number of years now, like your coverage, how do you feel the industry has like changed in your mind and since you started creating content?
Oh man, it's so hard to pin down. I don't know. I guess like the greed has really gotten excessive and like very apparent. It's like it's not even like a shy thing anymore where like companies are trying to be like, this is for creative endeavors or we're trying something new. It's like most of these things come out and we know it's some kind of cash grab.
Yeah,
And it's very
definitely.
hard for like unique experiences to shine through. But when they do, and then you get like these out of pocket successes like Among Us or Undertale, or like these things that no one really saw coming end up becoming huge. Because they're fresh ideas and all that. So yeah, I guess like I would say on the industry side or more like the content creation side alongside
Well,
of it.
I guess both. Obviously, content creation's changed a lot since you started. Everything's more like with your YouTube Shorts and
Mhm.
TikTok side of things now that you have to like be on those platforms or growing on several platforms simultaneously to get anywhere these days. But what is your view on like the content creation side of things then? Like,
Well, it's definitely harder than it used to be, for sure.
yeah.
I can't imagine with what I've been producing the last few years really like I feel like I got in at the right time before it got like really hard to compete because there's a
Mm,
lot. And trying to punch through the noise of content creation and just again get out there, get noticed is really, really hard. It's a combination
mhm,
of hard work and a lot of it's luck. I won't, don't let anyone tell you like, it's just like a lot of it's luck. You got to be at the right place, right time. The algorithm, the stars have to align, that kind of stuff. So I feel like I got into content creation right before it kind of like really blew up, and now it's like I'm comfortable where I am. I consider myself a medium-sized creator. But I have kind of like, this long history of making videos at this point. I'm like a seasoned creator, been around for a long time.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, now it's just like I do not envy people who like I want to be a content creator now, right now, starting scratch. It's like best of luck. You gotta put out the cream of the crop. You gotta fight with everybody basically to
Yeah.
like get
Especially during the
noticed.
pandemic. A lot of people
Yeah,
started during the
yeah. When
pandemic.
you
Yeah,
it
I do really
skyrocketed.
feel like there's because of the pandemic, there's such a massive oversaturation of the amount of people that tried to get into content creation at the time, and even on Twitch, we're seeing the fallout because of that. Because like how many people once the pandemic ended, like the fall in viewership
Yeah, well, because like
and
now it's kind of like it went up, everything went up about 30,
mhm,
40%. Now everything's gone down
going
about
back
30, forty
down.
percent Now
Yeah,
we're kind of
and
like
Right.
there's
back at the
so
normal
many more
hum.
content creators now all sharing that audience, and
Mhm.
it can be a little bit difficult there. But I totally hear what you say on the greed side of things for the industry as well. It's so apparent that it's like developers and publishers are going to do well. Mostly publishers are going to do what they can to like jump on the next big trend that's going to get a lot of people in. It was battle royale, and then it was live service games, and we've seen the fallout from the live service game stuff happening recently
Yeah,
with
I mean,
like
kind of the gotcha trend also overlapping with
yeah,
that as well.
exactly. Yeah, so many things being like cancelled and gotten rid of that you could just tell that they just care about money first, and it's really just disappointing sometimes. And NFT seems to be the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, got
I really hope it crashes and burns a lot faster than some of
me
these other,
too.
and I think it will because like
Yeah.
right now we're seeing a lot of companies invest. We haven't really seen the product
Hmm.
yet, and when we do, it'll be really funny to laugh at it. So
Yeah. I feel like we've done a good job so far as like well, as gamers, as a community of just
yeah.
like trying to say, no, get rid of all that
The
stuff.
the
We
last
don't want
line of
it.
defense against this
Yeah.
this crap, basically. It's like, no, guys,
Hmm.
we shouldn't have to pay 10 grand for a JPEG. It's not not as cool as you think it sounds.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know.
Exactly. Exactly. So, speaking of gamers, and cool people, we had a question from friend of yours, Clemps.
Oh,
They gave a general hello, Stinky, from you,
that's me.
from them. Sorry, and they also said, what are your thoughts on Final Fantasy 9?
Oh, great. What a great game. What a cute little like bucket of sunshine and nihilism and fun. It's just like it's yeah, well, for those who don't know, Clem's joined me on my playthrough of Final Fantasy 9 for the first time because they're like Final Fantasy 9 fan number one. And I've always been kind of like slightly turned off by the art style originally because I just thought it was kind of clashy. But once I experienced the game, I'm like, this is so dang good. It's like they don't make food like this no more.
Hmm.
Um, but seriously, it's one of those games that writes a very sweet line of like, adorable, but also like really serious, and touching on some difficult issues that gives a silver lining on kind of like the trials and tribulations everyone has to deal with at some point. So yeah, overall fantastic game. I would put it up there as like top 5 Final Fantasies for sure. I think I put it like
Yeah.
I feel like my list is like Final Fantasy 10 and 7 are kind of tied. And then I would put probably 9 like right below it. It's like right
Mm.
up there, with like
I
the best of the best.
I definitely didn't expect going in that Vivi story would be so Blade Runner-esque when I
Yeah.
jumped into it. Yeah, that's a lot.
No,
That's a
it's
lot.
great though.
Mm.
Can I just say I played Final Fantasy 7 and 9 back to back just a couple of years ago for the first time.
Oh wow.
Final Fantasy 9, I think out of the main series games, is my favorite.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
really?
I
Yeah.
don't I like
Like I played
totally
7, I was like,
understandable.
this is a great game, but then I played 9 right after, and I was like, oh, because 9 hits a sweet spot for me where it's like it's more grounded in like sort of a fantasy setting, like
Mhm.
medieval, like there's like
Yeah,
princesses, you know what I
it's
mean?
kind
Like,
of like a love letter to the series at the time as well. Which
right.
Oh,
is,
definitely, yeah.
Whereas like
Mhm.
7's more like, steampunky and sci-fi-esque, and
Yeah,
I
you got
like
your.
that, but it just doesn't hit it for me like 9 did. But
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, 7, set the precedent for like more futuristic, Final Fantasies that followed, like 10 and like 13 and stuff. But yeah,
right.
9 was nice, a nice little like return to form. And allegedly, again, there's whispers of this inevitable Final Fantasy 9 remake possibly on the horizon at some point. And my only hope for that, if it is, true, is that I do want it to be really, really similar to the original. I think it deserves like a 1-to-1 remake. I kind of speculated that the what is it? The World of Final Fantasy team. I don't know where they are, what they're doing, but I hope that they're working on the 9 remake because I feel like that'd be a really good fit because the art styles are like kind of similar. So yeah,
Mm.
not 9. Go play it. That's my endorsement. Good video
Absolutely
game.
great game. I was watching somebody play through it recently, and it occurred to me I didn't realize how much of a fuckboy Zidane
Oh my
was in my
God.
original
Yeah, yeah,
playthrough,
yeah.
but
I had
he's
to
just
bonk
like
that boy so many times.
it's constant. It's like, oh yeah, just wanting all the girls. He's great though. He's great. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He grows. He learns. That's the best
Yeah.
part.
For sure. So kind of moving things along, obviously we're here on Gaming Mag's channel, Buns, you and I were nominated for LGBTQ Streamer of the Year. We're all, part of the LGBTQI plus community.
Mhm.
And there's a lot that comes with that,
Yes.
obviously, especially on the internet. Both good and bad. So in your experience, being a queer content creator,
Mhm.
like what sort of things have you faced in that experience? Like how has it been for you on YouTube and Twitch maybe?
Well, for the most part, I mean, like I would describe it as positive for the sake of just community. It's
Mhm.
been really awesome to because I originally wasn't out online. Again, I have family entanglements. That's how I can describe it. That would, me being out would cause problems at the time. But when financial independence is a beautiful thing, everyone strive for it.
Right.
Makes a big difference. But my career got big enough to where I could be out. And it was always a big part of me. Like I came out when I was 15 in high school, and I was at risk of like possibly being kicked out, that kind of thing. So that sense of identity has always been with me. It's always been a very defining factor of my life. So finally, when I got to a point where I could be open about it online was a big deal for me. And finding other like-minded people that either have very similar stories or at least like can relate to me in that way, I felt like it's important to be out and about, proud about it, talk about it, just because, I'm sure there are people who are, similar to me when I was younger that have, similar problems or struggles, whether with family or, whatever. And just like trying to give people some peace of mind that life can get better. That life, that you can make the most of your situation, even if you're in a crappy one, like persevere, push through, strive, to make the most of your life, and I just want to make that kind of like the thing that I'm happy to talk about because it was a big thing for me. It was a big motivator for me, to make content creation work. Because like once I realized it could be my job and it could offer me an opportunity to be out and like authentic and stuff, I gunned for it. And it's made a huge difference with my relationship with my parents. So, I don't know if like it's the fame aspect or what, but like, I never thought my parents would turn around on anything that they've said to me in the past, but they have miraculously.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful for it. Again, I don't know if the YouTube stuff is a factor in that because like, It's like, yeah, I'm YouTuber extraordinaire parental. It's like, please respect me, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just being out and about for the most part has been very positive. Obviously, it comes with some interesting downsides. Again, you are naturally a bigger target for harassment anytime you try to speak on behalf of marginalized groups or like in their defense. You're going to be met with a lot of hostility. And some of it has been like, I wouldn't even describe it as hurtful. It's almost adorably bad with like how bad people like people
I
kind of
know
come
exactly
after
what you
you.
mean. I know
Yeah,
exactly
I've
what you
had
mean.
some very persistent. I have to just because they don't even seem like right in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like these people come at you, and I almost have pity for them because they seem confused or like they're struggling with it on. Because from my experience and stuff, like if you're so like really homophobic and like harassing queer creators constantly, and
Mm.
it's like a core part of your day, you're dealing with something a little more deep seated than just like it's like you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's
It's,
like
totally. Yeah, yeah. There definitely feels like that a lot of them have like their deeper issues as
projection.
well. Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
they're not fighting with you. They're fighting against the preconceived notions that they've made up in their head. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so for the most part, I either try to ignore it or again try to come at it from like an almost sympathetic lens. Because I know some people who like with how I grew up, it's like most people who are most out and loud against it are normally dealing with some feelings, that they got to work through. So yeah, I like it's obviously got its weird downsides and stuff, but the benefits not bad. I'm surrounded by a bunch of like-minded folks.
Mhm.
And and gaming was such a core part of my life, and the fact that I can kind of mix these two is a dream come true. I can't complain, you know?
Heck yeah.
That's great. And hey, we're all talking here because we are part of this community, the gaming
Yep, yep,
community, the
yep.
LGBTQI plus community. And just to kind of prod you a little further, you said, you want people to watch you, and if they feel like any connection with you, then it's a great way to show people that it does get better if you persevere. And um obviously there are a lot of people wanting to get content creation. We were actually just talking about
Mhm.
that earlier with the pandemic, and just in general there's more and more people. And do you think that there's any lesson, any piece of advice specifically as a member of the LGBTQI plus community that you would give to someone also part of the community who wants to get into content creation?
Well, I think the best way to start out is have the right set of expectations because I see a lot of people give up too soon. And it's really true. Persevere, push through. Strive for what you can do. But yeah, the best advice I can give is just have a goal in mind and don't beat yourself up for not achieving it when you want to. Just have a general idea as to where you want this to go. And also do your homework, learn, teach yourself skills, use it as an opportunity to just improve yourself, whether it be creatively, again, personality. You gotta it's content creation is partially a public relations job. You got to learn how to talk to people, you got to learn how to roll with the punches for the most part. And yeah, it's just like do your dang homework, learn how to edit. All right, download Vegas, DaVinci, whatever. There's so many tutorials online. And also get a brand. It's like I got my brand, I got my SuperButterBuns. People like we got VTubers. We got the works. When it comes to creating a distinct brand, just know what you want to be, and in that process, you got to learn about yourself. You got to be honest with yourself, and that really helps bring out your brand. So yeah, that's the best advice I can give is just be authentic to yourself, in
Mm.
whatever form that takes.
That's such a
Right.
great
Yeah.
message to send to the again the newer, the younger audience that might actually be watching or listening to this. To follow on from that, just to tie that in, this might be a little bit of a sensitive topic to cover, but wanted to ask about like some of your biggest struggles as a content creator.
Mhm.
Have you found that you've struggled in certain areas, or what would you say your biggest struggle has been?
Well, a lot of this I can just contribute to ADHD. Like I said, as I've done this
Mm,
longer, it gets harder to get a lot of again the dopamine hit from things I've done a lot. I've done over the years. But it's really self confidence. I think it boils down to this, and I want everyone to remind themselves that there are people in this world that go about not having a single clue how anything works. and just being the loudest voice in the room and just kind of shotgunning through life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that like, reject reality, embrace delusion. You need to gas yourself up. You know, that's a big factor in it. And like, I'm the whole fake it till you make it thing, but there's some truth to that. You know, you have to be your biggest advocate. You're going to be your number one fan for the longest time. You know, and people might give you crap for it. People might, you know, poo-poo pee-pee on your dreams. God knows when I started out and I'm like, hey, friend of mine, check out this video I made. Dead silence, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, fast forward and they start messaging you. You know, like when you have numbers that, you know, but like,
oh yeah, I
you
experienced
know what I'm
that as
saying?
well. Yeah, totally.
It's
All
like,
of a sudden,
whatever.
I haven't spoken to you for 10 years, and all of a sudden now you're messaging me. What's this?
Are those Twitter followers I see? There we go. That I can, you know, get a hold of, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But seriously, yeah, being because I deal with that a lot with self-confidence, is that oftentimes I'm like, this isn't good enough. I'm not even gonna bother. And that's where you get stuck. And I have to constantly remind myself of that, is that you just gotta put something out sometimes. It doesn't have to be the best, it just has to be something. You know, as long as you're trying your best, you just have to try. And half of this, like most of this, is just failure. You know, you just kind of fail upwards. It's like, you know, you're going to put a video out that you put your heart and soul into, and maybe 10 people are going to see it. And that's enough. Those are 10 people that gave a crap, you know? So it's just like, I always recommend to people to really gas up your first few fans as well. Like anyone who interacts, thank them. You know, like, you know, rather just be like a simple comment, be like, thank you so much for watching, that kind of thing. Just be appreciative, because people are offering you their time and they don't have to, you know? So it's just like, be grateful for what you get and take baby victories for sure. Like I celebrated 100 subscribers. That's a big deal for me. So celebrate every milestone because it's a big deal, because it's your journey, you know? So yeah, that's just like, gas yourself up, fellas. You know?
Exactly. Gas yourself up and do not be afraid of failure, because it makes you who you are. Great. So looking forward towards the future, let's talk about the future a little bit. Are there any like dream projects that you still want to work on, things that what do you still want to achieve?
Oh, I have my list is so long. You have no idea. I have this huge laundry list of videos I want to make one day. I plan to be in, you know, or at least like stream content. I have like a lot of marathons I want to do. I want to do this for a long time. So yeah, I want to pace myself. But I guess immediate projects that I got coming up. I'm going to be doing like a fresh playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII with Clemps, hopefully this year. Possibly a full playthrough with Nico B with Shadow Hearts Covenant. That's another thing I've been planning to do, hopefully this year, at least on Twitch. YouTube-wise, right now I'm working on, fittingly, Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII for beginners. Because I've never talked about it officially, and I plan to cover remake, and I wanted to make the original first, you know, because I feel like playing the original is going to help people appreciate remake more. So it's like, got to make a ramp on to that game, you know, make it easy, give people no excuse not to play it at this point, because it's like, come on, you know, chop, play the original 7. And I guess like long-term goals, ideally, if I ever could, I don't know how long it would take me and how difficult it would be. My magnum opus for beginners, I want to be on 14, and I want to make 4 videos on each individual expansion. So just like one big, super long, massive for beginners on 14, when most of everything is kind of like, at least from A Realm Reborn to Endwalker, everything's kind of tied up a nice little bow. It's difficult because 14 is constantly updated, so I can't go into too many specifics because there's a chance something might get patched out. But that's something I've always wanted to do at some point. So maybe I'll be around long enough for that to happen. So we'll have to see.
Okay. No doubt.
Well, it seems like you have a lot of ideas for like content, and one thing I really appreciate about your channel, both on Twitch and YouTube, is that you don't always just cover like new games. You cover and play games that have been out for a while, and I really like that, because like, I don't know, I've been a gamer for a long time, so sometimes you just want to see those classics, especially like older Final Fantasy games. So very excited to see the Final Fantasy VIII and also the Final Fantasy VII video for YouTube.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I just, you know, because some people, it literally is their first time and they don't have any, you know, no one's making fresh new content on the 20-some-year-old game. So it's like,
of course.
No excuse.
And oh yeah, sorry.
You gotta play it.
Yeah,
continue.
So I mean, I was just kind of like to go along with that, even though, you know, you do play both new and older games. Are there any games this year coming out that you are particularly excited for?
Oh, this year's
2023
loaded.
releases?
I'm
No, I
overwhelmed.
know,
I think
yeah.
everyone's looking at their calendar and they're like, I've got my wallet, obviously Tears of the Kingdom. Got it, that's
Yes.
gonna be a must. Final Fantasy 16. What else is slated for this year? I have to like pull it up and stuff. But the two big ones
Rebirth
are
is coming out as well, I think.
Yeah,
Should maybe.
I'm not sure if Rebirth is coming out at the end of the year or the beginning of next year, because they do like by quarters or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that hopefully at the end of this year, that'd be amazing. But yeah, mostly just Tears of the Kingdom and 16, and I'm sure a bunch of other games I've completely forgot about.
I'm kind of curious because you've played Danganronpa, right?
I played I've only played a little bit of it. I've actually fallen asleep playing it twice because there's a lot of
Oh, no.
reading. And
Yeah, well, yeah,
that's
dyslexic
true.
brain, I have to
that's
like
true.
switch it to overdrive to read anything, and it actually makes me tired. So like I've fallen asleep playing Danganronpa twice.
The creator of Danganronpa and Zero Escape, they're making a new game coming out in June.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Rain Code.
Oh yeah, I've seen trailers for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, if there's more voice acting, because for me it's literally just a reading thing. I just get so tired.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
I will say, when like I streamed Danganronpa 2, one of the best experiences that I had with that, and what got me through it is like I got together a bunch of like my voice actor friends and just gave them
that's so
characters.
cool.
Brilliant idea.
And
That's so
so
cool.
maybe do something like that if you want to get through the series. It's just like just get your friends in and voice different parts and just have some fun with it. Like,
That's actually a really good idea. I might do that.
I
Makes
should
a
have
big
done that
difference.
because I marathoned every Danganronpa game back to back to back to back and had to do different voices by myself for each
Oh,
character.
wait!
Oh.
I need to hear your Monokuma.
Oh.
This is gonna put you on the spot.
There we go. Pretty
we
close.
There we go.
It's
There we
pretty
go.
close.
Have you got a Monokuma in you, Buns?
Oh God, no, not at all.
No.
I just imagine it sounds like a Teddy from Persona 4, but smoked like 40 packs of cigarettes.
Hell
That's
yeah.
Honestly,
Probably,
Teddy and
yes.
Monokuma don't sound too far off from each other.
Yeah.
Pretty similar.
they got similar
Yeah.
vibes.
Who will be the blackened? Something like that, maybe.
That's so good. That's
That's
so
good.
Cool. A bunch of stuff coming. Thank you so much for being with us today. We have one more thing to cover here, though. It's not over yet, Buns. We always finish with a segment we like to call quick fire questions. So
okay.
we're
I'm
going to
ready.
fire off some questions, and you are just going to, again, very ADHD, stream of consciousness.
try,
You're just going to fire off whatever comes first, as long as the brain allows it. So yeah, Toph, you're gonna start us off with the question.
I'll start it off. All right. First question. What's your favorite game from this past year?
Oh, this last year? Oh,
Yeah.
So
Resident
last
Evil
12
Village.
Ooh, very good.
Ooh.
Was that last year? Or that 2021.
Well, the DLC was last
the DLC.
year.
Yeah, it counts. Anyway,
Elden Ring. Just kidding. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, 2022.
Very good.
2021 was Village. My bad. Time's not real.
I feel like we've had an answer to this already, but what was the one game that defined your childhood?
Jack 2. I'm gonna throw that in there.
Oh, okay.
Jack 2.
It had a good cover.
It did.
Who's
Oh
your
yeah, it caught my eye.
Who's your favorite video game character?
Vincent
All time.
Valentine. Easy.
Right.
What game do you most want a sequel to?
Metal Gear Rising.
Oh,
That needs a
Good
sequel,
answer.
please, God.
Mhm.
all right. Who would be your dream stream guest?
Geez. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I'm blanking so hard. I'm gonna be cute. Forever KT, because they're a dream to stream with every
Aw.
time. Yeah, my longtime pal.
Okay. Again, we've covered this already, but what game are you most looking forward to coming out in 2023? Is it 16 or is it Tears?
Probably Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, I got my hard bias on that. So, but yeah, so Tears of the Kingdom, I'm super stoked. But like, it's just like for Tears of the Kingdom, it's just like more Breath of the Wild versus 16, which is like kind of
That's
very
true.
fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All right. Well, what one word sums up your Twitch streams?
Annoying. Goofy, I think would be better. Goofy.
Okay. Cool. What one game do you think everyone should play at least once in their life?
Raft. Everyone needs a
Ooh.
little bit of Raft in there. I'm serious. Yeah, I love that game. Everyone go zen out on Raft. It's great.
It's funny. The next
Yeah,
thing is
that's-
kind of a
that
little bit of a
actually,
tie-in.
That kind of ties in because speaking of Raft, if you were marooned on a deserted island, What 3 games would you want to have with you, regardless of
Ooh,
system?
oh god, does
What-
it count if I do a bundle? Kingdom Hearts
They-
1.5 and 2.5 collection. That's
Ooh, okay, that works. They can also
It's
connect
one
to the
disc.
internet as well, so you're allowed to have internet games
Oh,
on
I'm
here
allowed
too.
to have
So you can,
internet?
yeah, you're allowed to have internet, but
Oh,
you're just not allowed to escape with it for some reason. I don't know,
oh,
it's a very
okay.
weird island.
Oh yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5. Geez. One of them. This gonna sound Skyrim, weirdly enough. I have a
Okay.
very soft spot for Skyrim. And the other one is an absolute guilty pleasure that I can't stop playing. And I hate myself for it. Overwatch. It's just it's one of those games.
Oh my god, do you play a lot of Overwatch?
Oh my god, I'm literally addicted to it. And I mean that in that sense.
I play every single day. Add me after this. Add
I-
me after this.
Okay. No, seriously, I do log in. Like I've really tried to drop it, especially after all that Blizzard stuff came out. I've uninstalled the game. I've uninstalled the installer. I've uninstalled as much as I can. My only claim to fame at this point with Overwatch 2 is I haven't spent a dime on it. So I'm like, I just love playing Wrecking Ball. I have 500 plus hours on Wrecking Ball. So yeah, Overwatch is a game I can play endlessly. Sadly, it's got me by the throat. But it literally scratches a part of my brain that I
Same.
think it's either meant for cocaine or something, but like it
Mhm.
I really click with it.
Honestly, yeah, same too. Yeah,
It's
it
a guilty
happens.
pleasure.
And final question: you are free to take as much time as you want on this one. Where can people find your content, and what have you got coming up on the channel?
All right. Well, like I said, Final Fantasy VII, the original for beginners, coming out on SuperButterBuns. You can also find me at SuperButterBuns, Twitch TV. Just Google SuperButterBuns. Chances are it's me. But I'm also on TikTok as well. I've started posting on there. Yeah, for stream content coming up, Resident Evil remake, Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm gonna be playing it, withholding it myself for a few more days, so other folks can jump in and watch me scream and poop my pants because I'm easily jumped. So that's it.
Heck yeah, that's
I will
awesome.
be there. I will be there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that playthrough. All right, and my lovely co-host Toph, where can people find your content, and what have you got coming up?
Well, I'm currently playing Resident Evil 4 Remake right now. After that, I'm not really sure, but probably lots of Disney Dreamlight Valley, because there's a new update coming out this month. You can find me on twitch.tv/Toph, and you can find me at Toph Games, one word, everywhere else. Because even though my name is not based on Avatar, Toph from Avatar is taken on every single platform. I was lucky I got it on Twitch.
Mhm.
I was really lucky I got it on Twitch, but I couldn't get anywhere else. So Toph Games everywhere else.
Nice.
Heck yeah, fantastic. And as always, I've been your host, Miabyte. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Miabyte. I do TikToks where I do stupid memes that I voice myself and voice act and stuff. I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 4 Remake on the channel, but I'm probably gonna stick to my current Elden Ring randomizer playthrough. That's been
nice.
a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I accidentally selected a option that puts key items in the catacombs and dungeons, so I can't find the key to Rhea Lucaria, so I can't progress. It's great. It's fantastic. So if you want to see me scream and tear my hair out of that game, you can come on over to the Twitch channel. But other than that, yeah, that's basically where I'll be, twitch.tv/Miabyte. But this has been fantastic. I want to thank everybody for giving up their time to join us today. Thank you to our lovely viewers and listeners, if you're listening on the audio version of this podcast. Big thank you to my lovely co-host Toph and our super special guest, SuperButterBuns.
Thank you.
And,
Thanks so much
yeah,
for
I hope
having me.
Yeah, I hope you had fun today. I
Had a
hope
great
it
time.
was,
Thank y'all.
fantastic
It was so
conversation.
fun.
So again, thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of the Gaming Podcast Live. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time for another episode where we'll be holding our first ever VTuber roundtable and answering the question of like, how do you get into VTubing? What is that all about? And we're going to have a bunch of cool queer VTubers on the channel. So pop back in 2 weeks for that.
Awesome.
And what else can they do in the meantime, Toph?
In the meantime, you can follow us on the Gaming Mag channel here on Twitch. Drop that follow. It's nice and easy. And after this is finished, it will be put on podcasts. So you can check us out on podcast platforms and over on our YouTube channel, also at Gaming Mag.
Yes. Now, I'm going to be back next Sunday, for Let's Go Gaming. I think I just got confirmation as well. I'm going to be hanging out with potentially hanging out and doing some Mario Kart 8 with some cool people, all the new tracks, basically. And we're going to be raising money for our stream partner, our charity partner, Stream for a Cause, once again. So make sure you pop back for that. And remember, whatever Sunday you decide to tune in, there's always something happening on the Gaming Mag Twitch channel. But until then, don't forget to keep reading and watching Gaming Magazine, and we will see you all next time. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.